Hello, and welcome back to my 5-year plan playthrough of RP-1 2.0. Joining me is Maximal,
Hey, everybody.
and Nasfib pointed out what the problem with Vanguard 2 was, and it's a clicking problem. The problem is I've rolled this out, so what I think I'm going to do is, and I can't just edit it in the save because the vessel's compressed.
No, wait. Don't worry, do anything crazy. You can edit action groups in flight now, remember?
Oh, yes. Why do I never ever remember that?
I mean, the KSP UI is dense enough that, I might not remember if I hadn't designed that feature myself.
Yes. All right. Action group editor. So the problem was, look at that stuff in the stage action group. Landed KC and panic. Okay.
Unless the editor there was 90% so that people could review their action groups and see what they had assigned, and being able to edit them was an easy addition.
Makes sense. All right. Let's do this thing. Up we go. That's much better.
Say an engineer connected some relays wrong, and that's what was happening.
Yep. It would be par for the course. Really not sure why we instantly dropped 400 meters per second. Like the rest of this is making sense because this is all nozzle losses.
I didn't see it happen.
Well, we started at like 700 spare. Now we're down to. We very quickly went to 400 spare. Now we're slowly ticking down, which you'd expect from nozzle losses.
That is very odd. That seems like something off with PVG because all of that should have been predictable.
No. So PVG doesn't. So PVG has never understood atmosphere and never will, basically, which means that it never takes nozzle losses into account. Like it operates entirely off vacuum delta V, even though you're at atmospheric specific impulse. So like that's all expected and fine. But usually that's only about 300 meters per second difference.
Oh, okay. I don't see why PVG. I can understand why it doesn't have understand the atmosphere for trajectory planning, but I can't understand it for the purposes of ISP.
Because that far overcomplicates the optimization problem. Because it's trying to fly a delta V optimal ascent, and if the delta V it gets changes based on like its flight through the atmosphere along with just worrying about gravity, then that becomes too complex a problem for that stuff to analyze. Like, it's not too complex a problem to be analyzed, but it's too complex a problem for MechJet PVG to consider dealing with.
You think it could at least do that for the most relevant portion, which is not PVG at all, the booster pitch, like the pitch program portion?
Yeah, but it also, like, it doesn't take that into account either. I don't think.
Well,
like, if you change the pitch program settings, that number doesn't change, which means it's not actually being fed in.
Yeah, I get that. So that number is, I guess
that number is as if guidance started immediately, and guidance had complete control, and you were in vacuum, then it would be correct.
Yeah, and I get that number is never going to be perfectly accurate, but like it feels like you get a much better approximation if you just numerically simulated the booster pitch program. Even if it was just, you disregarded drag losses and drag effects, but you just said, okay, but atmospheric ISP is still a thing during that. And it happens. Like, you don't make that assumption that you just mentioned. Like, it must calculate it. It must be calculated. If it can calculate it from...
No, because you need to know drag, because when guidance takes over is based on dynamic pressure. And dynamic pressure is based on your actual conditions at the time. And your actual conditions at the time is based on how much drag slowed you down.
Yeah,
so in order to answer that question, you would have to understand drag.
To answer that question perfectly, yes, but to answer it imperfectly, because it's already really imperfect, to do a better job, you could just ignore drag, figure out when the Q trigger is going to happen, do the numerical simulation for the booster pitch program, assuming both atmospheric ISP and the pitch happens, and then run PVG from the point that you guess that the Q trigger is going to happen.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
And then you wouldn't get a perfect number, but you'd be closer.
Yeah.
Closer enough that I imagine it would be closer to tens of meters per second rather than hundreds. I don't know. Anyway.
Probably still be about 100. Might be less than 100.
I don't know. Booster pitch usually runs out somewhere in the tens of, 10,000 to 20,000, right?
Yeah, but look at my drag losses.
Yeah, fair.
Hey, Lamont. That's good timing. Yeah, we were talking about. So Maximo was proposing, if you take the pitch program settings into account, assume no drag, and then.
But look up what atmospheric ISP is.
Yeah, so you know when closed loop begins, and you can integrate backwards what the actual delta V would be over the total by integrating through the curves there, which would be like an awful lot more expensive, but not expensive in the way of like actually trying to do a full simulation of the flight.
Yeah, just to get a better estimate on the pad.
Wait, how is my satellite not 400 kilograms?
Because you dumped your core stage? You were always going to count on your core stage as part of your mass?
Yep. All right. I'm just going to complete that one too.
Makes sense.
Okay, and we can now...
Frankly, you just paid for a decoupler that you didn't need.
Would even be historically accurate to not decouple.
Yes, I read that not too long ago.
Yeah, for Leica.
I don't know if November's doing that thing that she suggested about having an alternative
The
to
polar
Leica,
thing?
but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yes. That seems like a perfectly fine alternative.
Yeah. Are you watching it for reasons?
Yeah, because I don't want to warp too fast. Although I guess I could not warp too fast from the Space Center.
Not warp too fast for what part?
For Kerbalism, because the biome that it determines you to be over is based on that tick. So if your tick is like 5 hours, then it's kind of random what given the orbital period.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I wanted to go slow enough that I would actually get a bunch of science from it before the electricity ran out, which, given that it's going to run out in 4 days.
I just thought you would want to hop back to the the Space Center to complete the program. This was the last one, isn't it?
Yep. Yeah, Lamont, I'm less concerned with having closed loop guidance from the start and more just a more accurate delta V estimate. And the reason for that was that on the pad it claimed we had 700 available, which, like, nozzle losses, drag, whatever, that's fine. But usually that's on the order of like 300 to 400 meters per second. And in this case, it jumped down like almost 400 meters per second within a very short time, which made me think something screwy was going on. And that was what started the conversation.
Yeah. And it also was a discussion of, could you do this thing, not Lamont should do this thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like your task list is long enough. Yeah, I might just be making it up. It might have... But, like, the fact that it was... So, our total... The total between drag and nozzle losses for that, MechJeb claimed were on the order of 600 meters per second, which seems really high for drag and nozzle losses. Given that drag was only about 120 meters per second, which meant that the nozzle losses were like almost 500 meters per second, which seems really high for nozzle losses, particularly given that it was high chamber pressure RD-107s and 108s and not like low chamber pressure American engines. So the sea level specific impulse was actually pretty high.
Hey, NorCal Planner.
Hey, NorCal. Good to see you.
And that sounds real good, Lamont. How do you do drag, though? Like, without consulting FAR, make an assumption?
I mean, you can make a reasonable assumption, and then square cube law will get you the rest of the way.
Yeah, fair.
Like for broadly rocket-shaped rockets, mass matters way more than than actual rocket shape. I'd say you'd do better to have like a reference CD times S for a given rocket mass, and then do square cube law scaling. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I was handing in the program. Definitely no point in keeping this around. Oh, it pays real good.
Yeah, you want to move on to the next stuff. And now we should
also,
finally
given
get...
the number of failures, I'm surprisingly close to the total payout anyway.
True. Well, that's why we gave you so much money.
Were you going to tune up the rep rewards for completing programs early?
Yeah, I actually was looking for that number earlier, and I couldn't find it.
It's in programs.cfg. It's rep per year completed early or something. Yeah, I have more scientists I can appoint.
Let me go look at that. So, to be clear, it does not check anything about the program.
What do you mean?
This is ancient history, but I thought when we discussed this that there'd be some sort of, like, it would be a per program value, not just the global.
Yeah, open programs.cfg. And then each
Okay,
program has a...
Yep,
Yeah.
it's on each program. Yep.
Rep delta on complete per year early.
Yep.
And then rep penalty per year late.
Okay. Yeah,
I'll
go
I named them
this.
differently, but because it either should be rep delta for year early and year late, or rep penalty and rep bonus. But apparently, I'm weird.
No, yeah, this is fine. Sorry, I was being dumb.
Oh, good. And yeah, I can do a rename at some point to make it sane.
That doesn't matter. I'll retune this.
Man, none of these scientists are actually compelling. I don't care about solids. I don't care about flight. I mean, I guess Katherine Johnson? Because... else is really useful. Minus 5% confidence. Okay. Yeah, I guess I technically should start mission control upgrading, even though I don't think it requires it. Discussed. Oh yeah, and I need to pick some stuff. So we're definitely picking crude orbit. We don't have enough confidence to do anything with it. We're so close, though. We only need 300 confidence. That makes such a huge difference. I'm wondering if it makes sense to punt and try to get 300 confidence.
Also kind of want to go retune the confidence values.
Yep.
Although I think my solution would be to make the current fast breakneck and then put something in between them.
Yep. You mean in terms of just shifting those numbers down, or also shifting the payouts and the timelines?
Shifting the payouts and the timelines. I'm still of the opinion.
Because we're normalized on the middle thing. Like this is 1x for everything.
Yeah.
So, like that's what we thought things would take. Does this require Mars orbit and Venus orbit? Yeah, I really wonder if it's insane to just try to get some optionals in probes.
What are your optionals there? I was looking at something else while you were looking at it. Let's see. I think the optionals require you to complete one of the objectives and then start doing it as an optional.
Yep. Yeah, so we're talking about no crude orbit for about a year.
Your RS-7's built pretty fast, but I don't know what else you have to chunk on top of them to get them to be.
Well, I have to upgrade the launch complex, and I have to finish building the stuff. So I probably wouldn't even finish the first mission for a year.
What do you mean you have to upgrade the launch complex?
To support the RDO 105.
Right, but it's just fuel support. I think you don't have.
Yeah.
You have a bunch of extra mass on there. Yeah.
Yes.
So I don't think it takes that long.
Yeah, no, it won't be that long. But I also have to finish the buildings that I need.
Why don't you build that rocket and see what it would be like versus deciding the program now? Because it's not going to take you any block time to do that.
Yeah.
And you're going to need that rocket anyway.
Yep. Yeah, so effectively we're giving up So, yeah, how long would it take to make back the 250 we'd lose if we didn't do this? Well,
Looks like
not very
a
long.
year and a half.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think the answer is pretty obvious to just delay accepting it until we get the confidence.
Yeah.
But just for the sake of argument, let's look at the I'm gonna edit this just so that I can save it and fix the staging problem. Because I'm pretty sure there's no way, no how that we'll have anything left if we try to edit the other stage on.
Yeah, definitely. You didn't get that far into building it. You could potentially use it for a ComSat later on.
Yeah. Yeah, we'd need a kick stage, but that's fine. Okay, so we need to change it out for barometer, thermometer, and mass spec. Or actually, I think I want magnetometer. Actually, 90, yeah, 3 days out of 90 days is not a lot of days.
Nope.
So I don't know if it's really worth that.
I can always put, yeah. Go.
How long is that gonna last? 17 days, even if it's transmitting. Don't think we necessarily need that much.
Yeah,
Built in.
Yep.
put this thing on. Moon. And we want the next level of tracking station. Some more. What's going on here? Oh. Wait. UHF. Oh, I didn't apply it. That's why. ESN. UHF. Yeah, that's more like it. All right. 4 bits. I think that's correct because you don't really want to go higher than that.
Yeah, usually for this I go to 1 bit.
2 days, 1 hour. So the thing about 1 bit is it's actually less power efficient than 2 bits. Because 1 bit is... Oh no, it's actually... No, it is right. Okay. Yeah, 26 watts. 2 bits is 52 watts. Yeah, it's fine. Alright, if we turn off the super hungry magnetometer, or if we turn off visible imaging, which is relevant, that's 4 days. Turn that off, doesn't matter. Alright. So yeah, that all seems fine. I think actually give us a little more juice.
Hey, question. Do you want me to stick this, when I do this retuning, which I'll probably finish tomorrow rather than tonight, do you want me to stick it in master or stick it in your minor major branch thing? We're going to do
Stick it in master.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, this thing, I'm just making sure that everything works and I can take the right number of programs. And once that's done, I'm going to merge it down to master anyway.
Okay.
Earth early. Fuck. And probably something like 10 tons.
Oh, hey, cat.
Cat attack.
Oh, no, no, I was stretching and my foot bumped into my cat. I just didn't realize he was there at all.
Ah.
Usually he's in his nest at this time of night.
Let's see, RD go on a 5. Aluminum stringers. Okay, the rated burn time on this thing is 7 minutes and 20 seconds. And this stage does not have to be very long to reach the rated burn time.
Nope. Although it does get longer if you don't leave the combustion chamber inside of the tank.
Yes.
Like you're doing right now.
Yes. It's almost set up to have a toroidal tank.
It does seem to be, doesn't it? Like
I mean,
with that, whatever that plate is.
I mean, that's what the real one had.
I mean, you can make that.
Yes, I could make that. Okay. Also need some RCS. Kind of sucks that I don't have isogrid unlocked, so it's going to be heavy RCS tanks. I also only have crap for RCS.
I sometimes just decouple the tank and engine if I want to have smaller RCS.
Sorry. Oh, I see what you mean.
Depending on my
Yes.
rocket shape.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
since you have a short, fat rocket.
You do the Redstone Jupiter, version.
Yes.
Where you have a guidance unit and a.
Definitely because I was emulating historical reality and not just because I was being an optimizer.
Yep.
But yeah, it does work especially when you have a short fat stage, so you're not going to get much of a lever arm out of it anyway.
Yeah. Wait, I already have peroxide unlocked? When did? Oh yeah, it unlocks before the first control node, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And what are we talking about here? The burn rate is 0.06. So 0.23 liters a second. There's $243 seconds peroxide in there. Don't need that much. 28.6. So it's about 10 seconds liter of this tank. 5 seconds of total. Okay, so go down a little bit. That's fine. All right. If I make little struts. $20 meters per second for those little tiny struts.
Yeah, it should always make struts out of tanks.
Yes.
Also, is that the plan with having one of the horns facing back into the tank? Or is that just the way it is right now?
I mean, I could solve it that way. Which I admit is fairer.
I mean, I guess, or you could just use 3 horn ones because you're never going to need reverse.
Yeah, I am.
Oh.
I mean,
right.
stage,
Yeah.
You better believe it. All right, how long does this need to coast? Let's see. Ionics. 236 watts. .236 times minutes times. Let's give it a 3-hour coast capability.
put that in the wrong spot.
Oh God. Okay. That's better. There, and the tanks are nicely nestled. Plate. Okay. So that's all fine. Hollow interstage. I mean, I guess I might as well do the truss thing. I'm going all Soviet.
When did we add those bus tanks to procedural tanks?
When did we what?
Add truss tanks to the procedural tanks.
Oh
that
yeah, I
up
forgot that
long
we.
ago. Those were weird.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I don't know. I mean, this isn't one of them, but
Oh, I know.
yeah. But yeah, I forgot that we did that. Or I think Stuntsmile did that. Somebody.
I'm just curious because those things don't seem like they have any basis in reality.
I mean, they're not tanks. They're supposed to be for structural.
Gotcha.
They're for making girders.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't think they should be on anything but the structural thing. They shouldn't be on regular tanks.
Mhm.
All right, that's a lot of delta V. That's definitely a lot of delta V. And it's a lot of unlock costs too.
How much tooling costs?
That's probably not enough retro. Tooling cost shouldn't be bad because it's reusing in diameter.
Mhm.
But the avionics tooling is not.
Did they use retros when you had a hollow interstage for hot staging?
No. No. There's no need for that when you're hot staging. But the point is that I'm doing the ahistorical thing of... So historically, they lit the verniers, I believe, and then they burned them. I think historically what they did for the Luna launches was they lit the verniers, and that kept propellant settled and gave a modest thrust until they lit the engine proper at the right time.
Okay.
But we can't do that. So instead we coast and then ullage and light the engine. Ullage with RCS and light the engine, which means that I need retros.
Gotcha. That model doesn't look like it has a separate combustion chamber for the verniers.
No, it's... Oh yeah, I think they're fed with pump exhaust. So I don't know how. Maybe they. I guess it was. Maybe historically they did actual direct injection missions. I don't actually know that much about the Luna missions.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. So there's the tooling cost for my little peroxide tanks. Then there's the tooling cost for that. So 12K for that, and then another 30K give or take. So 42K all told. Plus another, how much? 7,700. Call it 50K all told. So if I just kill this,
What are you killing?
geostationary is the problem. I need some kind of relightable engine to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Or some kind of kick motor, but we don't have any kick. Can I get it in 3? Probably not. So we'll just do it on normal. Save the game. Take the thing. Slots. All right. Okay, and then we can still take this, but we're going to try to get the confidence first.
I would consider moving that slots taken down to where the confidence cost is listed.
Okay. Sure about that.
Yeah, just up where it is next to the description. It feels like I was missing it when looking through it because it's less game relevant data up there than kind of flavor. Will make an issue.
Okay. All right. So yeah, I get to. That's hard to do without control. But these are some kind of pick. This one should be easy enough to do. So yeah, we can use the existing line thing that's being built for this, probably.
Yep.
Just need the kick motor. What does our budget look like now? Not great. That's 'cause of this. All right, we can extend this out because we're not gonna. This is not going to be relevant till get enough confidence. Around there. This is going to be relevant sooner. This is relevant sooner. Oof, it would take almost a year just to get the money to start work.
I guess you should not have shut down early heavy after all.
I mean, I don't think my income was appreciably different.
Okay.
Like, let's look at completed programs. Yeah, I think it was like it was flat funding, and it was almost precisely 4 point something, 4.8, 4.66 years. Yeah, so it was 175 a year. I'm doing that math right.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas right now, I'm at 200 a year. So it's to my benefit to have shut it down.
Fair enough.
But it's not as much of an increase as I'd hoped. Yeah, it's the constructions that are killing me. And also the researchers doing the integration.
So basically everything. No astronauts to cost you.
Oh, I forgot to... Right, I forgot to start the launch complex upgrading. Although if I start the launch complex upgrading, then... it will take... Huh? Doesn't even have an estimate? Confusing.
Yeah, agreed. Well, wait. What's the RD 105 use?
I mean, it's the same propellants, but I didn't think that I... Oh, maybe it doesn't use any more than 10% more of them. Given that it's... Oh, yeah, no, that makes total sense.
Yeah, it's small.
Yeah, because... yes. Yeah, it was 273 tons, and I added only another 7 tons of propellant. So yes. Yeah, so okay. It was within the fact that upgrade is like 1.1x to most things means that I don't actually have to change my launch complex. That's cool. Okay, so I could... Okay, so this is interesting to me. I think the correct play here is to do these.
Why is that?
Because once I do the first communication satellite contract, then I can do this, which is an optional contract. And it should reasonably quickly get me the confidence I need, at which point I can take crude orbit. And then I can afford to do the lunar stuff.
Okay. You're gonna need something to kick your periapsis up.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, I can use U whatevers to do that, or I can just use the R103s.
Okay. Sounds reasonable. Space bees it is. Soviet space bees.
Soviet space bees are a bad idea because they take ullage, which I guess I could do with spin motors, but that's a little bit of a boondoggle. See what the mass ratio on R103 is. It might be fine. Like given the performance of an R7, I might be fine with those crappy solids. I'll have to check. I'll have
Yeah,
to
the performance
run,
of them is pretty good.
I'll have to run it through a calculator to see what going from like 150 by 974, which we can definitely do requirements. What it costs then to circularize and then go from 974 circular to 974 by 5 mm. How much confidence do we get from as an optional contract? Oh, they don't show confidence in the archives? That's weird.
Multiply your rep by 3.
Can you make an issue about that?
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, I thought I fixed it. Because like clearly they do for available contracts, but they don't for completed ones. Why that is? Oh, it's possible that completed contracts are no longer linked, therefore you can't know that they're optional. I can test it and debug and see. But yeah, so if we multiply by 3, test set. Oh, it's one of these. 65 times reward factor. What is reward factor? Reward factor is
Soft cooldown.
soft cooldown. Oh, it's purely, okay. Okay, so it has nothing to do with the payload, it's just the cooldown.
Yeah. It's not until we get to the last ComSat test ones.
The commercial ComSat, you mean?
Yeah.
The ComSat test, yeah. Okay, so 65 times 3, you said?
Yeah,
Or times 5 for confidence?
Times 3.
Okay. 195 confidence. Confidence do I have? 2067. Yep, so I have to do 2 of them. So that's fine. So 3 launches before I can take crude orbit. So that's literally a year. That's funny.
Well, I thought your Arsenal's built faster than that.
Oh, this one might actually, because it was 140 days for the...
Good night, Lamont.
Hey, Lamont. Yeah, so they integrate in 120 days.
Fair enough, then a year.
Yeah, a little more than that, because the last one will take some time to roll out. But yes, basically a year. which means also conveniently we know that it will be plus 140 and another 10 days, 50 sol. So like 5 months past a year. So November 59, so the start of 1960 is about right. But it does mean the admin building has to be sped up. The admin building has to complete in a year. These things don't have to complete.
Right.
They just have to complete by early 1960. What does that do to the budget? All right, that's still sustainable.
I need to AFK for just a moment.
Oh, I actually have to call it, so
Oh, fair enough. Well then,
I'm getting pretty sleepy.
stick around for a bit.
Cool. Well, thank you for joining me, and thank you everybody watching for joining as well. I will catch you next time. Bye.
Later.